How about those Detroit Lions, those playoff contention Detroit Lions? Will they make the playoffs? I don't know. They're in the hunt, but they had a great offensive day once again, and we saw a Jameson Williams sighting. That's what we're going to start this video off with, is talking about Jameson Williams himself. It is a cover 3 zone that the Vikings are in, although they have 2 safeties deep. One of them is going to move in, so they're kind of showing as though it's maybe cover 4 is what you'd probably think when you read the play, but actually only a single safety deep on this play. And typically what happens is that with Jameson Williams running the deep route, this is usually just a setup route. Push the safety deep, get him out of the way, then the guy over the middle, hopefully he can get open. That's typically what you want to have happen, as the Lions are also going to run a play action here, so getting both of those two things going together can work. You know, get linebackers out of position with the play action, throw over the middle. That's the way this play typically works. However, when this play begins, it's going to be in slow motion because that's how the broadcast showed it. Showed the all-22 version of it. You see right over here, Goff looks down the field, and the safety is definitely paying attention to the over-the-middle stuff. That's what he's doing. On one hand, you can kind of understand the logic behind it, right? Pay attention to that over-the-middle route, because if this play works as designed, which, you know, if he's not there and Jared Goff throws it over the middle, that's an easy chunk play. So I understand why you're doing this, but at the end of the day, an easy chunk play is better than an easy touchdown. Watch as Goff fires one down the field. He reads the play perfectly. Williams gets wide open, get into the end zone for a touchdown. Again, exciting stuff with Jameson Williams. I don't know how much credit you want to give him for this play, but hey, at the end of the day, getting a touchdown is getting a touchdown. You're doing your job well, and I think, a lot of times the guy that runs that route, he's just helping set up stuff for other guys and letting other guys get the glory and get the credit for it. So it's nice every now and then to see the guy who's running the setup route be the one who, gets the big yards and gets a touchdown there. Heading over here, we've seen this a couple weeks now of DJ Chark being a guy who can win on the outside. Now, we saw him do this inconsistently in Jacksonville. Well, hey, we're starting to see him do it a little consistently here in Detroit. He's been a big part of this Detroit offense, looking as good as it's looked these past few weeks. I mean, it's always looked good, but, looking as good as it's looked. It's just a one-on-one matchup on the outside. With cover 3 zone, sometimes you need guys who can just win on the outside. Watch as Jared Goff takes the snap, and he is going to look down the field. And again, this is just as pure as it gets, right? Chark just trying to run by the corner who's covering him. That's all he's trying to do here. Now, this throw from Goff is a thing of beauty, too. I mean, look at that. Again, Goff was the first overall pick for a reason, right? He has the arm talent. No one's going to deny that. Sometimes he makes some dumb decisions. Obviously, no one will deny that either. I think Jared Goff would admit that's kind of who he is. But still, when it works, it works. And one way to make your decisions easier is by having a lot of guys get open. And when Chark is getting open, it makes it for a pretty easy decision to make that throw and to be able to get that big chunk play. Now let's head over here. This is always an interesting thing to have happen, is the fake punt scenario, which is something that we've seen Dan Campbell, I feel like more than any other coach, really utilize to his benefit, and I think it's smart. I think it's a good play that works relatively consistently. You can't do it too much, because obviously if you do it too much, then teams will start to catch on, but they've done this relatively consistently in his tenure, and I think people kind of wondered, would he continue to do this once the Lions got good? Because when you're bad, well, sure, go ahead, take this chance here, because why not? What do you have to lose? You're underdogs anyways. And, they were favorites in this game, but, record-wise, they're underdogs at 5 games behind the Minnesota Vikings. But still, you're up 7 here. I think a lot of coaches would play it safe, but definitely, Dan Campbell understands the new NFL and understands that, again, if you like analytics, he's been a very analytically inclined coach. I'm not sure if it's intentional or just the way he views things, but I know he said that he, does pay attention to analytics at the very least, and analytics say do stuff like this more often. The way the play concept works exactly as you can kind of see on the screen. Really, no one's being accounted for on that side of the field, but there's one exception. Number 20 for Minnesota, I'm not sure if he noticed something that was going on or what, but look at him and look at where he's lined up. It's almost like he knew something was up, because he's paying attention to that area of the field. And, the gunner on the other side of the field is also doing it, but watch what happens right when the play begins. You see right when this play begins, you see him kind of back off a little bit. Maybe someone who's better with special teams can understand exactly what happened there, but it seemed like he was at least prepared for something like this to happen. Also, I think I called him a gunner on this play. Shows I'm not a special teams coach, right? But you know what I mean, the guy covering the gunner. And he's actually in position right here. So, a lot of times on these fake punts, it's just about getting people to be fooled. And if you fool everyone, it can work. But if you don't fool everyone, it can be a tough situation. Well, here, they didn't fool everyone. The guy with the ball in his hands, who's actually going to end up being the Lions' leading rusher in this game, CJ Moore, watch what he's about to do. I mean, he just blows by that Minnesota player, and he's able to pick up a ton of yards on this play. It ends up being a 42-yard pickup. So not only do they get the first, but they get a ton of yards after that. And again, stuff like this, I don't know. Just the Lions, they do things just a little bit, I feel a little bit differently, and I would say a little bit smarter than some of these other teams do, which is why they're able to be effective sometimes and why they're able to win a game like this where, had they given the ball up, that could have changed the football game as a whole, potentially. You also have stuff like this, which is just, again, the simple stuff. They're doing the simple stuff well, which is so important when you need to, move the ball down the field. It can't just be explosives. Those are the exciting ones to talk about. But something like this, zone coverage, you have a receiver trying to get into a gap in coverage here. Watch as Goff takes the snap. He runs a play action, and you see there's that gap right there. And again, Goff, very good at this timing stuff. This is why he worked so well in the Rams offense, is because he is very good at this kind of timing over the middle stuff. When things are open and when guys are getting open, he performs very well. Watch him make a very good throw, and they're able to pick up, maybe a little low. That's the one thing you could argue, but still, not too low. You're still able to make the catch at the end of the day. That's the goal, and they're able to pick up a nice little play there. And going over here, it's also stuff like this. It's kind of just, again, running an offense, right? That's what Goff can do. This is a situation where 3rd down and 12 here. I mean, I almost wonder if they're running this play just to make it a slightly easier field goal opportunity here at, cover 3 zone. You have a receiver running a deep shot, and then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of running underneath. I'm assuming the idea here is that, hey, let's run a scheme to get Amon-Ra St. Brown open underneath. Hey, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Getting the ball in his hands, never a bad play. Maybe it can work out. But if not, hey, we at least move the ball down the field, and we're making sure Jared Goff doesn't make a mistake by throwing the ball down the field, all that good stuff. Watch as Goff takes the snap, and he's going to look. Amon-Ra St. Brown is open underneath, so there you go. But watch this perfect throw to allow St. Brown to make the catch and continue running after the catch. They pick up that 1st down on a 3rd down and 12. You could argue it's tough defense. Again, I need to stop saying that. I say tough defense as in not great defense by the Vikings. I think that's a fair thing to argue. I think that you can bring that up. I don't necessarily disagree, but I would also say that, good offense takes advantage when an opposing defense isn't playing as well as they should be playing. So I think both things can be true. As a whole, are the Lions going to make the playoffs? They have a chance. I mean, again, it is tough, but the reality is, I actually think they probably are. I mean, I think that, they could easily go 4-0 in their next 4 games. I think that's totally reasonable to play the Jets next week, and then to play the Panthers the following week, the Bears the week after, and they finish the season with a Packers team that will almost certainly be phoning it in, as I feel like they tend to do when, it's week 18 and they're out of the playoffs. So because of that, going 3-1 in that stretch might be all they need, and I think they'll at least go 3-1 in that stretch. So, yeah, I think they'll make the playoffs. That's what I think. But we'll see what happens. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.